There's a war brimming beneath the surface with Ecowas and the Niger Republic, and we're watching the time dwindle on a bomb ready to explode. Welcome to Heritage In Depth, where we'll delve into key stories shaping our world. Today, we're focusing on the dynamic relationship between the economic community of West African states and the nation of Niger. Nestled in the heart of West Africa, Niger stands as a pivotal player in the regional landscape. At the same time, ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, embodies a collective pursuit of economic growth, stability, and collaboration among its member nations. Exploring the intricate dynamics between ECOWAS and Niger, it reveals the complex tapestry of shared aspirations, challenges, and opportunities. Our journey takes us across the once vibrant street of Niamey, Niger's capital, where the bustling market reflected its people's resilience and entrepreneurial spirit, now laced with an impending uncertainty of war or peace. Beneath the surface lies a nation grappling with multifaceted issues, from economic disparities to security concerns and now another military coup. Let's take a look at the background. Niger, a landlocked country bordered by 7 nations, has captured our attention for years. But beyond its picturesque scenery, lies a nation striving to develop in a region often marked by instability. Economically speaking, Niger's economy has long been characterized by its reliance on agriculture and mining, particularly uranium, which account for a significant portion of its export revenue. Despite these challenges, like desertification, limited arable land, and a growing population, have hindered the country's agricultural potential. The government's efforts to diversify the economy and attract foreign investment have also led to exploration of oil reserves. However, economic growth has been a roller coaster due to fluctuation in global commodity prices and the nation's vulnerability to climate change. These factors, combined with a high poverty rate, have posed substantial hurdles on Niger's path to development, with majority of the population under 25 and a median age of 15. Nigeria is the ideal youthful nation. This youthful bulge brings about opportunities and challenges. While it presents a potential workforce for economic growth, it also highlights the need for quality education, healthcare, and job opportunities to harness this demographic dividend. But then the constant coup faced in Niger did not make the situation easier. Since gaining independence from France in 1960, Niger has experienced multiple military takeovers, shaping its political landscape. The 1974 coup led to Seni Koche, and subsequent military regime set the tone for Niger's political instability. Throughout the decades, democratic transition and military intervention have intertwined, often reflecting the tension between the civilian governance and the military control. However, Nigeria has also seen moments of democratic promise, with civilian leaders attempting to establish stability through election and reforms. As we reflect on Niger's history with coups, it is essential to note that political dynamics are complex and often intertwined with regional and international interest. ECOWAS and Niger. Is war brimming? This is it. The tension has reached a breaking point and the threat of military action looms large. It all started when a military coup rocked Niger on July 26, 2023.
Ce jour, 26 juillet 2023, nous, forces de défense et de sécurité, réunis au sein du Conseil national pour la sauvegarde de la patrie, CNSP, avons décidé de mettre fin au régime que vous connaissez. Cela fait suite à la dégradation continue de la situation sécuritaire, la mauvaise gouvernance économique et sociale, les frontières terrestres et aériennes sont...
President Mohamed Bazoum was detained by the Presidential Guard, led by General Abdurrahman Tichiani. This marked the 5th coup since Niger gained independence in 1960 and the first since 2010. Let's take a look at the timeline. July 26, Bazoum detention. The crisis began with the arrest of President Mohamed Bazoum by the Presidential Guard, led by General Abdurrahman Tichiani. These abrupt developments sparked shock and raised concern about the stability of Niger's government. As reports of the president's detention spread, the Nigerian armed forces rallied to support Bazoum. The army secured key strategic points and surrounded the presidential palace. Tension escalated, leading to clashes between the supporters of Bazoum and the Presidential Guard. By evening, Air Force Colonel Major Amadou Abdurrahman appeared on state television to announce the overthrow of President Bazoum. He claimed that the deteriorating security situation and governance issue were the reasons behind the coup. Abdurrahman declared the formation of the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland and imposed the curfew while urging against foreign intervention. July 27th, Bazoum's response. President Bazoum, though detained, refused to step down and tweeted that the hard-won gains of democracy would be safeguarded. Foreign Minister Hassoumi Massaoudou declared himself acting head of state, pleading to preserve democratic values and denouncing the coup. The Nigerian Armed Force officially endorsed the coup, citing the need to protect the president and his family from potential bloodshed. The junta also suspended political party activity and revoked military cooperation agreements with France, igniting tension with foreign partners. July 28, Tchiani's ascension. General Abdurrahman Tchiani proclaimed himself as the president of the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland. In a televised address, he criticized Bazoum's governance and security strategy. He did not specify a timeline for a return to civilian rule, raising concerns and questions about the junta's intention. In response, Ecowas swiftly condemned the coup and demanded the immediate release and reinstatement of President Bazoum. But the situation took a more ominous turn when Ecowas gave the military junta an ultimatum: release Bazoum and restore constitutional order within 1 week or face the consequence.
The President Bazoum is safe. And that democracy is restored in Niger Republic. Whether we call it constructive dialogue or otherwise, whatever you and I resolve will make or mar our democratic credentials.
ECOWAS Commission President Omar Aliou Taure minced no words, warning that if their demands were not met, the 15-nation bloc would take all necessary measures to restore constitutional order, including using force. It's important to note that ECOWAS has a history of intervening against military takeovers in the region, where countries like Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso have faced suspension from ECOWAS membership following successful coups.
Ladies and gentlemen, coup d'etat is a tragedy for our region, especially our regional efforts at consolidating democracy after the political crisis of the 1990s, exemplified by the civil war in Liberia and Sierra Leone. Through collective efforts of our community, the region was stabilized and the foundation for democracy and the rule of law restored. Indeed, until about 3 years ago, all leaders in the ECOWAS region were democratically elected. Unfortunately, the ill winds of coups started blowing again recently, and the region has experienced 3 successful coups and several failed coup d'etats.
August 19th, an ECOWAS delegation led by former Nigerian leader Abdulsalami Abubakar engaged in talks with Niger's military government leader Tchiani and met with Bazoum, the previously ousted leader. Tchiani proposed a 3-year transition of power, cautioning against attacks on the country. However, he provided no specifics on the transition, emphasizing that principles for the move will be decided in a dialogue hosted by the ruling military council within 30 days. This marked the first sighting of Bazoum in weeks, which indicated critical development in the political situation. August 25th. The Nigeria's foreign ministry announced that French Ambassador Iti had 48 hours to leave, saying he had refused to meet with the new rulers and citing French government actions that were contrary to the interests of Niger. September 4th. It was announced by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Transport that all Niger's military regime reopened airspace for commercial flights after closure since August 6th. December 7th to December 10th. A court for the West Africa Regional Bloc ECOWAS dismissed a lawsuit filed by Niger's transitional leaders and Sun Corporation over sanctions imposed on Niger by ECOWAS. The applicants argued the sanctions were causing hardship for millions of Nigerians. However, the ECOWAS Court of Justice said the military government did not have standing to make a case on behalf of Niger. December 22nd. The final batch of French military troops pulled out of Niger Republic. The French exit from Niger left hundreds of United States military personnel and a number of Italian and German soldiers remaining in the country. Beyond internal factors, geopolitical complexities have also played a role. Niger, a key ally for Western powers, has been a crucial partner in the fight against terrorism. It has hosted bases for the United States, France, and Turkey, aiding them in their efforts against extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram. Amidst this coup and rising anti-French sentiment, a shift in alliances is evident. Russia's Wagner Group and Turkey have been gaining influence in the region, challenging the dominance of Western powers like France. The crisis in Niger not only reflects internal struggle, but also highlights the intricate dance of power and interest in the Sahel region. With the ECOWAS drawing a line in the sand and the military junta clinging to power, the fate of Niger hangs in the balance, carrying the potential to reshape the geopolitical landscape of West Africa. The prospect of a hot war looms heavily over the continent, but what does this mean for Africa? A hot war could allow these groups to exploit the chaos and expand their influence. The economy won't be left out of this damage. Africa's economic progress is fragile, and a conflict of this scale could reverse years of development. The disruption of trade routes, decrease investors' confidence, and divert resources towards military efforts would deal a severe blow to the economies of multiple nations. African nations, often burdened by limited resources and infrastructure, would face immense challenges in managing and resolving the conflict. Peacekeeping efforts might struggle to maintain control and ensure compliance amidst the chaos. On the flip side, a hot war could serve as a catalyst for greater unity and cooperation among African nations. The shared challenges could prompt regional powers to collaborate in finding solutions and preventing further escalation. Amidst potential catastrophe, Africa has reportedly shown its resilience despite the daunting challenges. There is hope that African nations collaborating with international partners could find diplomatic avenues and prevent a worst-case scenario. Is this coup really against injustice and the high cost of living? Does the calmness of the Nigerians with the military junta mean the people share the same views? Let's take a look at the possible outcome. Possible outcome as the tension between ECOWAS and Niger reaches a critical juncture. The world watches with bated breath to discern the potential outcome of this high-stakes standoff. Scenario 1. Diplomatic resolution. The first possible outcome centers on diplomatic negotiation. ECOWAS and Niger could engage in intensive talks to find a peaceful solution. This could involve mediation by regional leaders, international organizations, or neutral parties. A diplomatic resolution might lead to the release of President Bazoum, a return to civilian rule, and the restoration of constitutional order, thus averting a more significant crisis. Scenario 2. Continued imposition of sanctions. Should diplomatic efforts fail to yield results, ECOWAS might threaten to impose prolonged sanctions on the military junta. This could involve economic sanctions, travel restriction, and the freezing of assets for those involved in the coup. While these measures could pressure the junta to relinquish power, they could also have far-reaching consequences for Niger's republic, for Niger's economy, and the well-being of its citizens. Scenario 3. Military intervention. This situation could escalate into a worst-case situation where ECOWAS follows through on its warning of military intervention. In this scenario, ECOWAS forces would engage with the military junta to restore constitutional order. However, this path carries inherent risk, including potential armed conflict, civilian casualties, and regional destabilization. Scenario 4. Prolonged uncertainty. The standoff might continue for an extended period, heading to prolonged uncertainty. This could create a governance vacuum, weakening the country's institutions, economy, and security. The longer the impasse persists, the more complex and unpredictable the situation becomes. With each scenario carrying its own set of consequences, the potential outcome remains shrouded in uncertainty. The resolution will depend on all parties willing to prioritize peace, stability, and the well-being of Niger's citizens. We find ourselves at a critical crossroad with Niger's history. The unfolding event impact the nation and reverberate across the region, raising questions about democracy, stability, and international relations. Niger's stance has led, if not encouraged, more uprising across Central and West Africa. The choices made today will shape tomorrow as ECOWAS and Niger navigate the delicate balance between diplomacy, sanction, and the potential for military intervention. But with closed borders, limited aid supply, asset freezes, and a no-fly zone over Niger, it becomes a waiting game. Will Niger break before ECOWAS takes action? Or is taking action the only way to let the world know ECOWAS won't tolerate an infringement on constitutional rules? Only time will tell, and we will be here to tell the story. That's all for now. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more breaking news and happenings around the world. Until next time, thanks for watching.